Hello, welcome everyone to another episode from Stats of the Day. I'm your host Karam, and today we are going to discuss the first 7 matches from Gameweek 1 of the new 23-24 season. Welcome everyone, hopefully you are having a fantastic weekend, hopefully you enjoyed some football after a long summer break, and hopefully you were on the right side with the players that you picked. So many players have not exploded, but at least they have clicked with some points. So we are going through the matches. We are going to analyze the some surprises we had, some disappointments, especially from the last match with Aston Villa players. I wouldn't say so much disappointment, but maybe players were expecting a bit more. But before we start, welcome everyone. I see here we have around 100 viewers, so a lot of energy at the start of the season. May that continue as we go along, because it seems like there are some FPL troll all over again, and that's typical. It wouldn't be FPL if it wasn't this way. How is everyone doing? Hi Brian, hi Johnny, hi Max. Hi, my name is Arteta is fraud. Yeah. We thought it's only Pep, and now Arteta is joining the train. So I haven't heard yet what was the decision behind benching Gabriel. I'm interested to know whether he's carrying an injury or purely tactical. I do have Gabriel, so I'm not getting Chilwell because thank you very much, Gabriel. He came on for the last minute, so he blocked whatever Chilwell was about to do tomorrow. But here we go. After certainly we are going to roll the transfer. Maybe we're gonna use it this week. I'm on 52 points. That's fine. If you have players to go still, I think 50 to 55 is a great start. Alan Abdullah is 51. Nice one. 55. 71, Johnny. You probably have a full house of returns so far, surely. Very nice. Well done. General 8843. Hi. Neil, Alan, Tony. You had Nketiah, very well done. Okay, let's dive in and have a look at the report from the matches, and who do you think this stood out? Let me know in the comment section. Who do you think amongst the midfielders had the highest goals involvement? It's a surprise. I was like, what? When I saw the player with the highest XGI from the midfielders. It kind of could be a bit tricky, but we're gonna go through that in the next few minutes when we get to midfielders. We're gonna follow the same format that we have last year, but I will bother you for a minute and show you my team for anyone who is interested. Akanji came through with a clean sheet. Stupinian on 7, I believe he's going to be after adding the bonus points. Gabriel, just the pointer. Those who switched to Saliba have gained a few more points, but it's not a killing. It was looking bad, like 0 versus 10 and all of that. But the goal from Forest was a consolidation for Gabriel owners. Izzy, this guy, he's by the way the second in terms of HGI amongst midfielders, and if you saw him today, like 7 key passes. 7 chances created, many shots on target. He had to score. Surely he has had to score, but he didn't. So all I have to live with is his 3-pointers. Saka, I believe he will finish on 10 after the bonus points. Foden was the huge disappointment from me, especially that I ignored Bowen the last minute, and Foden came in for a Diaby. I'm so disappointed that I gave up Diaby, and I know him very well from following the Bundesliga. He's a great. I know Villa has been disappointed overall, but that doesn't mean anything if Diaby can score every match. So it's not the biggest of a difference, but certainly 7 versus 3 would have been nice. Haaland with the 26. This guy is killing the game, isn't he? And Jackson to draw tomorrow. So that's it from my team. I'm on 50 plus the bonus points. I believe will be 56, and that's all from now. All right, so moving on. 4 matches in this slide and three more to go in the next one. So we will start with the Friday night match with Burnley against Manchester City. It's business as usual from Manchester City, as you would expect. A good win, 3-0 away from home against Burnley. From Man City, the player that stood out, in my opinion, was really Rodri. And I tweeted something that it could be taken as sarcasm, but to be honest, it might get serious during the season. I think Rodri could be a great enabler, a great fifth midfielder, whatever you want to do with it. But we are talking about a slot in Man City that will be taken. You should invest in Grealish or Foden. I don't know. You get Rodri, who plays every minute in the season. He scores screamers. He scores from in the box. So at some point, this probably we will never buy him in FPL, but he might not stop scoring. So a guy like him, I really needed to see who is effectively gonna replace Gundogan. I haven't seen much from Kovacic that he is the replica of Gundogan. Kovacic is a different type of player. So maybe Rodri is the guy who's gonna push a bit more forward and be involved in these kind of situations. But I totally get that. Rodri has never been an FPL asset, but maybe he will never be. But we will see. XGI of 0.67 for Rodri, a goal and an assist, and maximum bonus. Oh, 2 bonus points after Haaland. Haaland 2 goals and maximum bonus points. Alvarez is the guy that I am so interested in, especially that unfortunately De Bruyne will be out for a while. That I don't know whose minutes will be encouraged more. Is it Kovacic? Is it Foden? Is it Alvarez? It's yet to be seen. But mathematically speaking, if you take out one from the options you have, then definitely it endorses the minutes of the other ones. Alvarez looked great as well. He played on the left, on the right, and in the number 10. So he switched many times during the game, and I really like this flexibility. And Pep does like that as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a run of Alvarez in the first few game weeks of the season, at least until the Champions League kicks off. From Burnley, they looked decent. They looked decent, even though they lost 3-0. I think over time, when their fixtures are becoming winnable, I think there will be some interest, at least from the likes of Foster, who the player that stood out. Having an XGI from against Man City is still good. 0.19, not the biggest you will see ever, but it's still good. He had a great chance wide from the post. So maybe someone like Foster at 5 million, a striker, he could be an enabler in the future. So it's something we start to shortlist players. We just don't necessarily go and buy him. But I really liked Burnley in general, and I really liked Foster from what I saw in the first 90 minutes of the season. From today's matches, we have Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. Palace win 1-0. Osola, I believe he is 4.5 or 5 million. His XGI was 0.25, but they couldn't score any goal, and Palace looked decent all over. Edward with a winning goal, a total XGI of 1.26, and Eze is unlucky not to return any points. 8 goal attempts, 5 shots on target, XGI of 1.09, no goals. So Eze owners, hard luck, but he really looked good. And as I said last week, Olese out isn't necessarily bad for Eze. It could actually be good for him because he's taking more of the corners, he's taking more of the free kicks, he's getting more involved in the attack. So I would hold on Eze and give him some time. I think he looked great today, and I think the points will come. I'm holding on him for sure. Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. It 2-1 for Arsenal, and Saka, what a screamer, rewarding his owners from the first game. Arsenal in general looked good. Saka has been involved, heavily involved. Martinelli as well, not so much from Havertz. And I like Nketiah as well. So these three are the key players that I stood out from. I mean, they are the attack, but they looked great. So I don't think that Arteta will change the front three in the next couple of game weeks. But the defense, the defense was a big surprise. I haven't been around when the rumor came about Gabriel, so I missed on that. And basically, I wonder whether that's precaution from an injury or pure tactical or dropped, because that's a big deal. Gabriel is owned by 1/3 of the game, and if people start selling him, then he can become 4.9, 4.8 by next Saturday. And the last thing I want that is a drop in the TV. So we'll have to see during the week what we know about what happened with Gabriel. But yeah, if you got Saliba, then you are on the safe side. You even got points, so there is no need to worry about anything. All right, so Forest, Elanga was the highest in terms of HGI with 0.61. He delivered the assist as well for Awanei. Brennan Johnson is the talisman from last season. I don't think he will necessarily be an option we can rely on, but you see, if you follow us from last season, Johnson was someone who is always involved, but not necessarily maximize on these stats into points, which is unfortunate. Bournemouth against West Ham, I think it's a good point for Bournemouth. Solanke, I was surprised a bit because I didn't see his price before today, and it was 6.5. So kind of, I think I prefer Pedro. If him and Pedro are the same price, I would say that Solanke is someone we know that we can rely on in good run of game weeks for Bournemouth. But 6.5 is kind of a bit of a stretch, especially if Jackson at 7 million starts or kicks in and start delivering points. So it's unfortunate price point for Solanke. West Ham, Bowen is someone I was chatting with my friends on WhatsApp on the deadline day, and I said I really like Bowen. He had a great preseason, and I want to have him for Bournemouth. Probably not necessarily for the game weeks after, but because of that, I decided to go for the longer play. But Bowen has delivered as you would expect. He has been the best player for West Ham as well, with an HGI of 0.61. So maybe at 7 million, Bowen will be someone we really his ownership could boost really up in the next game weeks if he continues to deliver. Okay, so game number 5, Brighton against Luton Town. This game was important for us, for many managers. Some have double, triple Brighton assets, and I think they have done a great job today. Joao Pedro, effective ownership is 55%, which is quite a lot actually. I don't have him, but he delivered, and I was surprised that he took the penalty, but he won it. So is it a new policy that you win it, you take it, or because he wanted to have a goal in his Premier League debut with Brighton? He wanted to score a Premier League goal. So not sure whether Pedro is the new penalty taker. I expected Gross to take it, but he did. So well done to the owners. He has the highest HGI, 1.33, so he had the perfect game. And Estupinian, what a guy, with an assist in the 94th minute. Total HGI of 0.97, and his stats today with chances creation shooted his PBS. And it's amazing to see him getting 3 bonus points in a game of 5 goals, mostly scored by strikers, and no clean sheet for Estupinian, and yet he managed to get 3 bonus points. That doesn't happen very often. So, well done to the owners for sticking with him. You got the first 7 points of the season. Mitoma, I've seen him in many teams as well. Came in with an assist and total HGI of 0.64 as well. From Luton Town, it's the penalty that was converted by Morris. Morris himself managed to create an HGI of 1.14. Obviously, excluding the penalty, the HG non-penalty will be around 0.4, which is still decent for a new promoted side playing against Brighton. Everton and Fulham. It was quite not the most exciting game in terms of FPL. Anil Mopay managed an XGI of 1.37, 4 goal attempts, but no goals for Everton at all. And for Fulham, who should have been in green color, by the way, because they won the game, Bobby Reed with a winning goal and total HGI of 1.08. Nothing much to say about this game in terms of defense or midfielders. So we move on to Newcastle against Aston Villa. Harvey Barnes, who came in as a sub, managed to create the highest. So, guys, anyone said Harvey Barnes in the comment section? I don't see him. I don't see him in the list of the answers. So Harvey Barnes was the one with the highest HGI amongst midfielders today, and that's really. I don't think this will happen many times, but it's a strong start. And Newcastle are fortunate, but we are not, that they have so many good attacking options that we cannot really settle on one. Because you can swap Anthony Gordon, you can swap Isaac with Wilson and Barnes, and you see them scoring. So which one is going to be nailed? It's the brilliance of the attackers made it very hard for us to decide which one we're gonna go for. And for that reason, I will hold a bet on the attackers. It's like a lottery basically. If you go and buy a ticket now, you never know if he's gonna start or he's getting benched. So Harvey Barnes, a goal and assist from an HGI of 1.16. Also Wilson, who came off the bench, a goal and assist, and Isaac with 2 goals from an XGI of 0.78. Nothing from Trippier today. He did okay, but you would expect him, if you expect him to continue this from last season, then it's kind of disappointing if you have him. But Botman managed to get an assist from today's match. So if someone has Botman, let me know. Very well done. Aston Villa, they had Diaby and Watkins. These are the 2 names that you really gonna look into. Diaby managed an XGI of 0.46, 3 goal attempts. I really liked what I saw, especially the first half before Villa collapses completely in the second half. Watkins looked okay as well with a total HGI of 0.33, and he got the assist for Diaby's goal. And I do think that these 2 are going to be the talisman players of Aston Villa. Whether Aston Villa as a whole will be a good side to start the season with, that's a different story. But if you're going to look for Aston Villa players, and I think these 2 are the ones you should look for. And I still slightly prefer Diaby. He plays in the wing, but he looked today more in the center. He is known for scoring goals, so he likes to be heavily involved more than just an assisting player who's playing on the wing side. And he's a cheaper. Unless you are settled on 5 midfielders, I think Diaby should make the list in your team. And I'm saying that to myself, who left him out for Phil Foden in the last seconds of before the deadline. So quite disappointed from myself. Moving on. Before I move on to the stats of the goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and forwards, I see a lot of comments, so I will just walk through them quickly. Arteta is watching and laughing. Yeah, of course, Mark. We had to take that troll that relay again. Fatal. I stopped out Diaby when I heard Foden starting. Oh yeah, we're probably saying you sold Diaby when you hear that Foden is starting. Yeah, I think I've done the same move. So yeah, you say the same move as well. So it's quite unfortunate. When we hear that Grealish is on the bench, I returned Foden back in. That was the obvious move. I wanted 3 City players, but I had to choose Eze or Diaby to make way, and I just decided to go for the one who's gonna score goals. How about that? I really thought of Rodri, but I passed Brian. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I mean, he looked strong end of last season. He scored quite a few goals, including the goal in the final against Inter. And it feels like this is getting part of his game. He's getting more involved in goals, and that's why I tipped him here to maybe be the next Gundogan. It sounds weird, but time will tell. Do we keep Foden or twist again to Diaby? I don't think that it's wise to use the first transfer of the season in game week 1 in general, let alone if you have an issue with Gabriel, let alone if it's about Foden or a Diaby. So I will give it at least one more game, and in game week 3 you can obviously do a mini wild card if you are looking for a hit or a change of structure in your team if you're gonna hold the wild card. That's the most common strategies that is used over the years. So I'll try and hold on Foden for the next game. Depends on what happens in midweek, because we play the Super Cup as well. So if he plays the Super Cup, there's a chance that he miss out on a Newcastle game. It's really tough to start thinking about the City formations from day one. So let's leave it until the end of the week and take it from there. Big opportunity loss for Izzy with mixed fixtures coming up. Yeah, absolutely. You would expect returns from today to justify blanking in the next game, especially next week against Arsenal. I'm benching him now. He might come in if Gabriel is still dropped. So probably he's going to be one of the unpredictable players where he can score in tough matches. Okay, so back into the positions. So if you can see here in goalkeepers, Leno with a great game, 9 saves today. The highest XG prevented from the goalkeepers. He prevented an equivalent of 3.3 goals, and kept a clean sheet against Everton. So it's a great result for Leno. I put here Kamenetsky and Fotheringham just to highlight their number of saves. They have been machines today, and it's kind of what you expect from new promoted teams to be under pressure from attacks and opportunities. 8 saves and 7 saves for Kamenetsky and Fotheringham, but are they good FPL options? I mean, if they start in the next period of time to pick up some clean sheets with a high amount of saves, then you are talking about 10 pointers a game, and that would be fantastic. But I think there are some options, especially the 4.0 in Turner, and what I'm really a bit more excited about is Areola. I know he conceded today from Bournemouth, but still, relatively, you would expect West Ham defense to be slightly better than Nottingham Forest. So if I have to choose one, it would be Areola. I could have both, but I haven't been sure. I wasn't sure that Areola would be a starting goalkeeper. So you can actually have 2 playing goalkeepers for 8 million, and certainly, surely they're gonna be better than Ward and what was the other goal? Everson. from Leicester last season. Okay, so moving on to defenders. Stupinian, 6 chances created, total XGI of 0.97, mostly from the expected assist of 0.86. Cash, Dunk, and Ake. I'm slightly surprised that the assist was taken off Ake. It looked like he was the last one to touch it before the ball came to Rodri. But nevertheless, he has been the most involved City defender, and that's why I just highlighted him. The problem with Ake is now in his specific position. He has Ake, he has Laporte, and he has Gvardiol, the left center back position. So it's tough. We will see how Pep decides on this position. I do think that Gvardiol is brought in to start games, but to be fair, Ake is not making it any easier. And there is a chance that Ake or Laporte will be deployed in the left back instead, or left center back and Gvardiol left back. So it's a wait and see if you are going to invest in City defenders. Not named Stones or Akanji. I think Akanji is fine. He might get the odd benches, especially if Diaz is back very soon. So the Super Cup game would be important to know the preferred center backs from City. Botman and Trippier and Anderson also there with 4 chances created for a Trippier, a total XGI of 0.26. Midfielders. More data, more names, more excitement. Harvey Barnes with the highest XGI, as we said, with 1.16. Eze with 7 chances created and 8 goal attempts. Unbelievable. He did not get anything. Come on, Eze. Gross, Rodri, Mitoma as well. 5 chances created for Mitoma. Bowen, 6 goal attempts as well. Diaby, 3 goal attempts and 2 chances created. Foden as well, the same thing, 2 chances created and 3 goal attempts. And finally, Saka with 3 chances created, 3 goal attempts. However, he didn't have a high XGI today. So apart from the screamer that definitely had a low XG, but it was a really nice goal. The total XGI for Saka is 0.36. So I think Forest did a great job to keep things tight. Didn't give a chance to Arsenal to win by 4 or 5 games, 4 or 5 goals. But I think Saka is undeniably a hold asset, and if you don't have him, you should consider buying. Moving on to forwards. Mopay is the highest forward in terms of XGI from Friday and Saturday matches. He had twice as much XGI as Haaland, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't score goals. Mopay had 4 goal attempts, 3 shots on target. Joao Pedro had also 4 goal attempts and 2 shots on target. Edouard, 7 goal attempts. Morris, 4 goal attempts, 2 shots on target, and Isaac, 3 shots on target. If you compare them to Erling Haaland, they've done a great game. These guys. Haaland, on the other hand, had 4 goal attempts, 2 shots on target, and he managed to score 2 goals from a total XGI of 0.62. So that's what you expect from Haaland. And if you look, you will see Alvarez was pretty much more involved than Haaland for some reason, because of course he played more minutes and he had a chance to score from what could have been a Foden assist. But yeah, Alvarez is looking great, and it's hard to drop him. So if you have Alvarez, 5 points is a great start, and I think this will continue. And finally, Watkins coming low in the table with a 0.33 total expected goals involvement. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's pretty much what we have in terms of players, numbers and stats. I'm open to hear to take some questions and answers from the chat. Which players you want to ask about? What do you think of today's matches? And that will be it. So let me know, guys. What do you think? I see a comment here from Stefan. Amdouni was way more impressive than Foster, in my opinion. Yeah, I think in terms of movement and all around, Amdouni was really good. I agree with that. I think Foster stood out in terms of putting the chances in, and that's what I wanted to highlight. But obviously, these two would be on the watch list, right? So we could have one of them as options in the next period or during the season. 80 points, 4 players to go. That's amazing start. Chat, how long till Premier League updates with bonus points for tonight's game? Ankit Rodra. Normally it takes 2 to 3 hours after the last whistle of the night. It's relatively faster at the beginning of the season compared to the last, but obviously it takes some time. So you might need to close the page and come back next morning, and then you will see the rank. He's left-footed. Seems precaution when Tommy came on, as Tommy is. I think the idea here was to put in a fullback rather than list of order, whether it's Gabriel and then Tomiyasu. I think Tomiyasu came in because he wanted to play on as a fullback. So now it depends on whether Timber's injury is a long term or it's gonna be for a few weeks at least. We will see if this will impact or will open the door for Gabriel to come back. I was surprised because White used to be the right back, and this time it was Partey, and White is moved to center back. And why would you do that if you don't trust Gabriel anymore, or you really have a reason for that? So it's a concern. I start to feel like it's a bigger problem that what we thought earlier today. So hopefully we hear something from Arteta on this decision. 6.5 is a lot for Solanke. Yeah, kind of agree with that. Are all of us selling Gabriel now? I will try not to. I don't want to be the one who triggers the the mass selling. But if I see price is about to drop, then I might just hit the trigger. I know that the value of rolling a transfer and having two next week, but also if you are going to have some headaches from the beginning of the season, it's good to get it out of the way. Typically, if you sell Gabriel this week, he might come back next week and become someone who is going to play every game, and he might score a header, and we are going to sit here next week talking about, are we going to buy Gabriel back in here? So that's the cycle of FPL. So it's a tricky one. It's very hard that we have to think about this and make a decision from Gameweek 1 on Gabriel. You have Bowen, amazing, really nice choice. Any thoughts on Odegaard? I think Odegaard looked really okay. I did not think that he was as effective as last season, but it's really one game week. I still prefer Saka and Martinelli, especially that the three of them are the same price. So is no-brainer. If unless you are doubling up on the attack, maybe you would consider Odegaard. But if Odegaard is the only Arsenal attacker you have, then I think that there are better options from Arsenal as well. As well. Keep Watkins or Newcastle forward or risk rotation. I think, Mark, I think Watkins is fine. I think we will see. I don't think Aston Villa will lose 5 goals to 1 every game week. It's a bad day at the office for sure. And Watkins, he's coming good. If you have patience with him, I just think that there's a chance that you will get Wilson and Isaac stars, and the other way around, or maybe the both of them start. And even so, maybe it's I think with 90 minutes and the extra time role, it's really hard to see any of these attackers getting full 90 minutes. So when you buy an Arsenal striker in Isaac or Wilson, you have to accept that someone will be benched and coming on during the game, and the other way around. So until I get an idea on the favorable attackers, and that will be in 1 or 2 more game weeks, then I might make a decision whether I want to go to someone of them. And let me check the fixtures for Newcastle, because what does it look like? Because I don't really know it by heart. Here it is. So they have, wow. Okay, so they have, of course, Man City in game week 2. Game week 3, they play Liverpool. Game week 4, they play Brighton. So it's hard to look for any of them anyway in game week 2, because 2, 3, and arguably game week 4, Brighton is tricky. No question about that. But then the fixtures become really good. Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Wolves. So I'm interested from game week 4. Which one I have to go for, I need to figure out. And luckily, we have 2 more game weeks to decide on that. Okay, a couple of more questions before we wrap up. Will you go with Ariola or Turner? If you have them already, then yeah, I think it's a great combination. Hopefully they start getting points. If you don't, I don't think I will make a transfer to get a goalkeeper. But for whatever reason, if you are planning a wild card, maybe I would be interested. I spent 9 million. I got Onana and Turner, presumably because I want Onana as my main goalkeeper. But if I don't see what I want from Man United in general, keeping clean sheets, Onana getting 3 saves a game, and more importantly, I want to see Onana racking up the bonus points because he plays with his feet, he's delivering a lot of complete passes. So Onana is kind of goalkeeper that I think either getting you 2 points or 10 points. Because when they keep a clean sheet, he will be up there with the higher than the defenders in terms of baseline bonus points. So I have high expectations from Onana. He's 5 million. I think that's decent enough. If it doesn't work out, then historically 4.5 and 4 million goalkeepers, they work just fine together. And we have Ariola is a good goalkeeper. And so he's worth the risk for sure. Martinelli looked electric today. I agree. Will Ferguson start over in the next game week? I think Brighton attack will be also rotated. Welbeck, Ferguson, Joao Pedro. They will face rotation. So I'm not so sure about Ferguson. I think Pedro is the most nailed between the 3, but eventually you don't expect him to have 90 minutes every game. I think he played today 74 minutes. So when he came off, it was 2-1 for Brighton, and Brighton scored 2 more goals. So they have absolutely no problem with that. And it's going to be, yeah, it was 2-1. It's going to be tricky. it's going to be tricky to get because you have Inceso as well, who came in for Joao Pedro. To be fair, Joao Pedro played 88 minutes and it was 3-1, so he was not subbed early. I think Welbeck was the one that subbed early at 78 minutes. So Joao Pedro looks the safest from the three. And so if you want to go for someone from Brighton, I think it would be him. Ganti says Gabriel dropped tactical, no injury. If that's what you hear, then I'm interested in what tactical means. Is it like one game tactical reason that he needed more attackers and he dropped him, or because of performance related? It's surprising. I posted here last week in the preseason episode. Gabriel is the highest defender who played a preseason minutes for his club, and he's basically played every possible minute last season. And to see him all of a sudden drop because of performance related, I really don't think so. And that's why I'm still having hopes that he will be back next game week. So unless Arteta thinks that the system works this way, so he will keep it, that's gonna be challenging. Last question, Bam. Are you playing Turner, Sheffield United, or Onana, Tottenham in game week 2? It's a good question. I haven't actually set my bus team for game week 2. It's very tempting watching Sheffield United today, not being able to create or challenge Crystal Palace that much today. Makes me think that maybe Turner has a chance of a clean sheet. But again, it's Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest. When the levels are closer, it's more likely that we see goals. So it's not necessarily easy for Turner to keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United. But again, it's Tottenham against Man United is a big game, and maybe with the departure of Harry Kane, are they going to be weaker? Are they going to be good enough to cover the loss of Harry Kane? Where Richarlison steps up, Son as well. So a lot to think about this game week. I think it's going to be a tricky one. I'm slightly favoring Turner now. So if I end the episode, I will put Turner as in my bus team. But I need to see Onana. I need to see him on Monday. That's definite before I make any decision for next game week. Thoughts on Stones? I really like him. I really like Stones. He is number 2 player that I put him. I put Haaland, Stones, and then Diaby. And I tweeted that, and I'm part of disappointed that I took Diaby out, but Stones was number 2 because I'm really convinced about his positioning, about his baseline bonus points, because he's plays in the middle and delivering a lot of passes as well. And he is the most nailed defender when fit. I think his absence was fit related, so if he's back, then I prefer to be with the Stones than a Kanji long term for sure. Okay, so United have stated that Onana is out for a few weeks. Jason, is that true? I haven't seen that. I will take a look after the show. Okay, guys, that's it. 45 minutes. So thank you very much, everyone. Great to have you back again in game week 1, and hopefully we will have a great season ahead. I will be checking in with you all next week, same time, same hour, of course, and with more goals and more numbers. Take care, everyone. Good luck with making decisions this week, and see you next time. Peace.